Hey, hello to everyone. Welcome to Sunstone University. My name is Jennifer, and I will be your host today. On behalf of everyone at my company, Sunstone Management, I want to congratulate the students and university community for choosing to take the next step in your entrepreneurial journey. Whether you're looking to become an entrepreneur or enhance your entrepreneurial knowledge, Sunstone University is here to help. We know that entrepreneurship can be a challenging industry. It takes a great deal of courage to trust in yourself and your startup. You might be asking yourself, how do I know if entrepreneurship is the right path for me? When can I finally make my side hustle my real hustle? How do I become the next big thing? A little bit of background. Sunstone Management is a diversified private capital firm that invests in early stage tech entrepreneurs. But what makes us stand out from other VC firms is our genuine dedication to the community. In addition to holding educational events like Sunstone University, we also have a nonprofit arm, the Sunstone Community Fund, which works in conjunction with top universities, accelerators, and public-private partners to support the local entrepreneurial ecosystem. For example, we are the funders and namesake behind the upcoming annual Stella Zhang New Venture Competition at UCI. We are also the innovation sponsor for the UC-wide Born in California pitch event this November. We are also the founders and friends behind the inaugural CSU Demo Day and Community Building Grant to coordinate university building activities that promote entrepreneurship across all 23 CSUs. By the end of this year, we will have given away $250,000 to support early stage entrepreneurship. And we've pledged to give away $1 million in charitable giving to support early stage entrepreneurship over the next 5 years to bring capital and build a more inclusive ecosystem with go-getters like you. We have an amazing group of speakers for you today who will provide their insight into the world of accelerators and startups. Please hold your questions till the end for the Q&A, but feel free to share your contact info in the chat to stay connected with the rest of the Sunstone community. All right, and with that, let's get started. Here with me today is the Chief Investment Officer of Sunstone Management, Mike Stone, with opening remarks.
Hi, how you doing? It's good to be here today. I have an opportunity to speak with students now and then, usually because they've either got a startup, it's at a university competition, and they want to just ask some general questions. And so I always enjoy talking with university kids, I should say, or young adults. Sorry, my 2 daughters are in college and I think of them as kids. So just about their plans for the future and what goals they want to achieve. And as entrepreneurs, you guys and gals have some pretty big goals. So let me just give you a little bit of my background. So I served as an officer in the Marines. I started out writing software. I had my own startup. And then I was number 6 at another startup, which I ended up leaving a little bit too early because I was just running out of money. We were having trouble raising money and I was living on fumes. I gave up a little too early. About a year and a half later, they got funded by one of the co-founders of Microsoft. So I've done that. I went to another couple other more startups, went to a company pre-IPO, went through that IPO process, and then eventually went to some bigger companies in the tech space like Oracle and others. And then I transitioned into finance and worked as an advisor for institutions and high net worth clients, private equity, venture capital, private credit, which are loans to businesses. I did that for big companies, Bernstein, as well as one Morgan Stanley. And then I went into venture capital directly. So that's where I am today. That's the Chief Investment Officer at Sunstone. My role here at Sunstone is to determine the investment strategy, to help organize and lead the investment organization, to determine where we're going to be focusing our efforts. Venture capital is a really big focus for us. We do actually a little bit of real estate and private credit, business loans, things like that, but our primary focus is entrepreneurs. And, my job is to figure out, where we're going to source our leads and, and at what stages. So we focus on the early stage, the very early stage, more like accelerators and seed stage. So many of you are pre-accelerators. At some point, your goal is to, if you can, get into an accelerator, which would be really helpful for you in your long-term plans. So we see our work with universities. We fund a lot of the demo competitions, the pitch competitions. We give out prize money for that. And hopefully these entrepreneurs are using that money to help them with their business. And then we encourage them to join an accelerator. And then we have programs that are after the accelerator as well for them to help them on their way. So that's my role. So thank you for joining us today. And I wish all of you the best and luck, because you'll need always a little bit of luck in your endeavors in getting your startups off the ground and to being one of those hockey stick successes that we're all involved with and read about. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mike. So a lot of the feedback we've received from our earlier Sunstone universities was to hear from more accelerators. So we love feedback and we hear you. Our next speaker is the co-founder and partner of New York-based Lair East Labs. Lair East Labs is ranked one of the top 100 accelerators in the world, and they just kicked off their 2022 cohort. 9 startups will receive investments of up to $150,000, as well as operational and advisory support. With that, let's give a warm welcome to Michelle Wang.
Thank you, Jennifer, for the introduction, and thank you for inviting me to join the Sunstone University event today. I think it's such a great initiative that students know early about what's entrepreneurship and shall they choose this route on their career development. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I can definitely introduce more about what I'm doing. So I run a startup accelerator based in New York City. So we invest and support early stage startups, founders, mostly global founders, help them to grow their business in the United States, and later on help them to connect with Asian markets so they can expand their business into Asian markets. So I think Sunstone and their staffs, we share the same vision and mission. We truly support and we're passionate about the early stage startup founders. So that's why we collaborate together, connect West Coast and East Coast together to support and invest in early stage startups and give back to the community.
Yeah, so Lair East Labs has an amazing group of cohorts. If you look at them up online, they do a bunch of great stuff. A few things. So Michelle, can you tell me a little bit more about the difference between an accelerator and an incubator?
Yeah, sure. So incubator is more from like when you have a startup idea and it's just the idea stage and you don't have like a formal team, like several team members. You want to work on this idea and to see if it's workable and to see if it can scale up to be a successful business. Accelerator is more a little bit later stage than incubator. Like in general, there should be like a funding team. That's the case, more than 2 startup co-founders. And then you have initial team members and work with you. And the product should be at minimum MVP level, minimum valuable product level. So basically you have this product, you want to launch it to see how the market is. And most of the case in our portfolio company, we have founders and product ready, and they also generate revenue. So we help this stage of startups to grow to the next level. So what they need is more like venture fundings and about the business strategies, how to scale their business, how to deploy their products. So what's the go-to-market strategy, how to connect with industry experts to build up like a business partnership with other bigger enterprise or corporations. So most of our portfolio companies are at this stage.
When you're looking to accept a cohort, what are some outstanding criteria, or what is something that makes those startups stand out to you?
I think both Sunstone and Lair, we share that we are founder-oriented accelerator. We do think the founders are the one behind the company and drives the company to be successful. So founder are the most critical parts, especially initial founding teams. We want to see the founder has leadership skills, even though at the early stage, they can attract people to join the team. That just shows the leadership skills, and you are able to attract investors to believe in you, especially you can have your friends invest in you, you can have your family invest in you. That also shows that people trust you, people believe you, people have this like confidence that you can do something great. So that initial like indications of this person has like attractiveness for fundings for people to join the team, that's just some indication about they can do something. And people like to join them to do it together. So founder qualities, that's the first leadership skills, first criteria. And then we really look at founders' backgrounds in terms of what's your past experience? What did you learn at school? What's your major? And then what's your working experiences? We're really looking forward to some startups that the founder has years of experience in traditional industry. And because their working experience, they got to know what's going on and what's the problem in that traditional industry. And they utilize like software or AI technology, new technology, digitalization transformed the traditional industry to the next stage, solve some like specific problems to make the society improve a little bit. So we're looking for the founders and startups that making positive social impacts. That's the second thing we consider. Third thing, I would say the markets. Everyone looking forward to support some founders could make a much bigger impact. So that has to be a little bit bigger industry or market they're working on.
Okay, yeah, no, we totally agree. Like founder focus is definitely one of Sunstone's pillars in our investment philosophy. We totally agree that, you know, it's not just about profits, it's really a lot more about the people behind the company, because without that soul, I mean, it's just a brand, right? So yeah. Love that. So once you identify those outstanding cohorts and those outstanding founders, can you run us through what a day-to-day kind of looks like in your cohort program?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So currently we are in this 2022 accelerator programs based in New York City. We are on site this year. We run a very upscale like co-working space based in the center of Manhattan. It's very nice. So founders will come to the co-working space every day. We don't host meetings in the morning, mostly like lunchtime or after work. So we can get the mentors based in New York or from Bay areas. They can connect through like Zoom or come to our co-working space on site to share the topics regarding to product market fit, how you find product market fit at early stage, and then about marketing strategy, how you cultivate the communities, what's the digital marketing strategies, and then some topics regarding to build up business partnerships, how to build up business partnership with enterprise, Google, Apple, large tech companies, and then also some successful founders sharing their exit strategies, how they were able to exit, for example, in 2 years' time, and how they were able to secure fundings, how to engage with VCs. So we organize those like sessions, fireside chat sessions with founders to share those experience and technology and skills, how to help them to grow to the next stage. Thursday afternoon, we always host a happy hour. So we connect communities, invite other like startups in New York City to come to our co-working space. There are coffee, snacks, so people chat to share information, ideas. At nighttime, usually, well, I wouldn't say quite often, but mostly probably weekly, we'll have founders dinner time. Just it's really helpful for us to get to know founders better, to just have like intimate conversations through like dinner or happy hours to get to know why they want to do it, to what driven them, and if they are aimed to do this for long run. So yeah, it's really like those like small talks and to get to know founders' character and what drive them to do this. Those are the most interesting part for me to get to know and work with founders.
Yeah, I love that. And happy hour, I'm sure, resonates with the Sunstone University folk. All of you students, happy hour, it'll pay off in the long run, hopefully. Thank you so much, Michelle. I want to remind everyone that if there's anything you want to ask about Michelle or about Larry's Labs or any of our other speakers, stay till the end for the Q&A and you can ask till your heart's desire. All right, and as to our next speaker, so it's almost the end of October, but I want to wish everyone happy National Women's Small Business Month. Did you know that as of 2022, only 15% of CEOs at Fortune 500 companies are female? Did you also know that last year, female founders secured only 2% of venture capital in the US? Not 20, not 12, but 2%. So here at Sunstone, we aim to build a diverse portfolio of outstanding early stage startups, significantly higher than 2%. Please join me in welcoming one of those trailblazing female founders, Shira, CEO and founder of Gritty in Pink. Shira, it's all to you.
Hello, Jennifer. Nice to see you and happy to be here. And Mike, nice to see you as well. Sending love to the whole Sunstone family. And Michelle, great to hear about your program. It sounds like an awesome program. And yeah, I can't say enough great things about accelerators. My company, Gritty in Pink, was involved in the Long Beach Accelerator. It was our first check-in about a year ago, and we've come a long way since. And it was just a game changer for us, you know, to have that community, the support, not only the capital, of course, which also was a nice way to legitimize our efforts and signal to other investors. But yeah, really the support of the community, the education that we received, just the friendship and connections that we had of all the other cohort members was very valuable. So I am the founder and CEO of Gritty in Pink. We are building the In Pink marketplace, which you can think of as a female powered Upwork or Fiverr, if you guys are familiar. But essentially we're connecting the music industry with a community of diverse female creators and pros. And our big vision is to become the global destination to hire female freelancers in every industry. So we're just starting with the music business. But we have over 250 artists with about 27 million collective followers on Instagram and TikTok. We have partnered with our strategic advisor, Melissa Etheridge, as well as Joan Jett. And we just announced in Forbes that Live Nation invested in our company. So very exciting time. Actually, I can share the link in the chat if you guys want to check it out. I will say, yeah, I can't say enough great things about Sunstone support and the Long Beach Accelerator. And you know, there's no such thing as an overnight success. It's a long time coming. I bootstrapped for 18 months before getting the first check in, went through the savings. I was able to get a team together based on the passion of our mission, which is to achieve gender equity and equality in the music industry and beyond. So we were able to kind of take our community in LA. We actually started as a monthly event pre-COVID. It was called the All Girl Jam. We do these big events with all female musicians. And then in COVID, we pivoted to live stream fundraisers, raised thousands of dollars for different charities, ACLU, Keep Abreast, Headcount. And then from there, decided to create this online network and marketplace. So it has been an incredible year of growth. You guys can check it out at inpink.com. And yeah, just very happy to be here and excited to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Shira.
I'll go ahead and throw that link in the chat here.
Yeah, I love your profile picture, by the way.
Thank you. We got the Rosie the Riveter. Yeah, we can do it. Yes, and I guess everyone here is most of these students are based in Long Beach. Is that the or SoCal?
Yeah,
area?
most of them. I see SoCal. Yeah.
Yeah. So we do have events. We want to let you guys know we have a residency at the Echo in partnership with Live Nation. And so want to invite you guys out on December 8th. And I'll also put the company website in the chat so you can see Irvine. Yes. Okay, great. You can see more info about that. Very cool. Yeah, I actually just went, I was spoke at a class at USC. One of my mentors, the founder of Warp Tour, Kevin Lyman, has a marketing and branding class. And I can share a little bit more about my background if you like. I am a musician. And I don't know if any of you guys have heard of the Vans Warp Tour. It's America's longest running music festival. It's a big punk rock festival, started the careers of Blink-182 and the likes, who just announced their reunion tour next year. But yeah, I was on the Vans Warp Tour and I noticed there were no female musicians on stage, which shocked me because I'm from New York and I had a huge kind of Riot Girl NYC community back there. And so we actually crashed the tour in a pink RV and ended up creating a stage for female artists. We had over 300 female artists, including the rock icon Joan Jett and Paramore on their first ever tour, and got in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Warp Tour exhibit. And so this just set me off on a lifelong crusade, you know, to carve out a space for women in male-dominated places, such as the music industry. I then went on to have a career in the beverage business, another male-dominated space, but I worked for Pabst and startups such as Bev and Boozy Tea. I had VP roles in marketing, sales, and branding, learned a ton through music festivals, spoke at South by Southwest about brands and artists working together, being able to see both sides of the table there. And, you know, but all throughout that journey, I never lost my vision to change the music industry for women. So that's a little bit about me.
Love that. So you've obviously accomplished so much for yourself and Gradient Pink in a short amount of time, in a difficult time during a pandemic, no less. So congrats. So as far as things like getting Forbes and bringing on board the iconic Melissa Etheridge, like all of these cool things, how are you doing that? Like, what are some tips or advice you have? Because those are amazing connections.
Thank you. Well, it's definitely all about relationships. And I know you guys mentioned networking events, happy hours, that stuff's all great. With Melissa Etheridge, I was fortunate enough to have a former intern who went on to work for her management company. And so another little hack tip is, you know, always make friends, you know, with the little guys, for lack of a better word, right? Because they're the ones who control the schedules. And so she was able to set me up with a lunch with Melissa's manager. And I brought my laptop and I said, lunch on me, you know, and just went through the deck. And, you know, I wasn't sure, should I bring my laptop or not? But she said it was good because it forced her to sort of pay attention, you know, because we were so used to having, it was like my first in-person meeting in years. We were so used to having like virtuals at that point coming out of COVID. This was, you know, in March, or I guess we announced in March. So I met in about February, but yeah, she liked it. She said, I'm going to go back to Melissa, see what she says. Melissa looked at the deck the next morning and said, I'm in. So, you know, I really, you know, I think I lucked out with just an amazing musician. Melissa's a pioneer. She was one of the first musicians, you know, to come out in the early 90s and, you know, has always just sort of done what she's wanted to do. You know, whereas a lot of artists, I think they have teams that really like, you know, just kind of restrict what they do. They overthink things, you know, they're very like selective about what they want to put their name on. Not that she wasn't selective, of course, she selected us, but I think that there's something about her that she's very brave and she's not afraid to sort of be the first person to, you know, throw her hat in the ring and say, yes, I support this. So it's been an incredible partnership. She does quarterly social media posts. When we announced our partnership, we had a 450% increase in traffic. So she's certainly been able to bring a lot of eyes. And yeah, it's just been very, very supportive. As far as Live Nation goes, you know, I'm involved in the I Fund Women organization. They do coaching, capital, and connections. And we actually received a couple grants through them for Johnny Walker was honoring female trailblazers in LA, which was kind of a cool thing. We got If any of you guys are Angel City Football Club fans, we got featured at the women's soccer games at the Bank of America Stadium, which was very cool. But yeah, iFund Women, great network. I was able to get an intro, to the head of the Live Nation Women Fund. And this was back in November. So it took time, it was a lot of meetings, some Zooms, a couple in person. She came to LA, I went to Nashville. And finally we closed the deal at the end of July. So it was a long time coming, but she said I was very persistent. And throughout that time also, we grew as a company. We're now up to about 75K in transactions, and we've been growing month over month. And so, during that time, we also got Melissa Etheridge on board, so I think that was cool. She was able to sort of observe us over, a few months and kind of see the growth and see that, this wasn't going to be like a temporary project. This is something that I'm super dedicated to. So, yeah, I think that's good. And actually I can share some new news that we haven't announced yet. Even Mike doesn't know, but we actually just got selected to be a finalist, top 7 finalists in the iFund Women Fund Forward Awards, top 7 out of 5,400 companies. So very excited for that. And I will keep you guys posted. There's going to be a live pitch event on November 16th, which I believe is Women's Entrepreneurship Day or something along those lines. And so that's exciting. And that's for a 100K investment. So yeah, I'm happy to share that with you guys.
Oh my gosh, congrats. I'm so excited.
Literally just got the email. So yeah.
Oh, what a day.
Thank you. So yeah, I'm all ears. If anyone has any questions, please feel free. Or Jennifer, I don't know if you have any more questions, but.
I mean, what do you think? Obviously you guys are doing super cool stuff, but what do you think made Gritty in Pink stand out from your other partnerships, from the Long Beach Accelerator? Obviously people love you and what you're doing. So what makes you super awesome?
You tell me. No, I mean, I think I am very passionate, and very persistent. There's a couple of sort of things that I live by. One is ask and you shall receive. If you guys want something, go after it. You have to kind of be a little fearless and thick skin and not worry about rejection. Because if you get a no, you're in the same place you were then before you ask, So, I think it's ask for that intro, if you meet someone in person, ask for the email, you know what I mean? You have to kind of go above and beyond. It's not enough to be in the room. You have to ask for what you want. You have to ask for advice. You have to ask for investments, right? You have to ask. So that's a big thing. And then another huge thing, obviously you guys heard my story about crashing Warped Tour. I don't take no for an answer, so I think that serves me 90% of the time. Sometimes it gets me in trouble, but because no can be a very hard pill to swallow if you're someone who doesn't take no for an answer. But just persistence and just you're gonna get no's. That's part of the journey. So just keep going. And I will say, being part of the music industry, I think sort of, it did make me gritty, right? It made me really kind of tough and thick skinned because, when you're on tour and, your drummer quits halfway through the tour and you're like, what do I do? And Joan Jett knocks at your door and says, you got to keep going. You're doing a good thing for women, okay, better. Joan Jett just told me to go, so I think I've always just put myself out there. That said, I'm not fearless. I'm not, you sort of have to act fearless, right? But that doesn't mean that I never doubt myself, right? Everyone, I think, experiences imposter syndrome at some time. I'm my own worst critic. You know what I mean? I definitely, I struggle with that. And so, but you have to just keep going. I mean, I have a Post-it note on the side of my desk here. This is my reminder to myself. Keep going, right? Because there's gonna be hard days, So what's the number one thing? Just keep trucking. I mean, I can't tell you how many programs I applied to before I got accepted in the Long Beach Accelerator. I applied to Y Combinator a couple of times, Techstars, and I just keep going. Now I'm too big for them. Long Beach got me. So no, but you have to be used to rejection and not take it as a sign to stop.
That's awesome. Yeah, imposter syndrome and having a thick skin, I think affects everyone, like whether you're a university student and you're just starting out as a young professional, or even if you're seasoned, even if you have a corner office in your C-suite. I mean, there are those moments of doubt that you just gotta push them to the side, keep going, right?
Right. Looks like we got a question here. How different is your startup today than when you first started? Great question. It is very different. I have a different business model now. When I first started, it was more of a freemium model, which if you guys are familiar, is kind of like a LinkedIn, it's free to join. And then, there's the upsell to the premium membership. And actually working with Karen Kahn, the CEO of iFund Women, who sort of took me under her wing and helped coach me up, sort of just brought to my attention, like, what we want to do is redistribute the wealth, right? And so I think, yes, we wanted to monetize, and also started mostly focusing on artists, not necessarily women working in all aspects. Now we have 6 different categories, not just music and audio and live talent, but we have business, marketing, graphics, and local services. So that's different. But, she was saying, yes, you can monetize the artist, right? But that's not where most of the wealth is in the industry, right? So we started thinking about, thinking bigger and thinking about B2B, right? Business to business, and selling those kinds of services. And then that's when sort of the idea for the marketplace model popped up. And obviously, it's a hot space in VC. There's a lot of successful marketplaces out there, Airbnb and whatnot, that certainly offer, of course, Fiverr, Upwork, that offer a lot of inspiration. So yeah, it has changed. And I will say about that you do have to be willing to sort of like grow and evolve. And it was a process for me to like let go of my initial vision to embrace the new thing. And something I told myself, because I'm an artist and I'm passionate about helping artists. So all of a sudden we're like, oh, is this the way, we're going to be a marketplace, we're going to be a hiring platform. Like I questioned it at first, but then I thought about Amazon, right? Amazon, started as we all know, as like a books marketplace, right? And then, then they bought a movie studio, right? So, and they sell everything under the sun now. So I think you have to be willing to grow your vision. And I think that having that big vision has allowed us to, have access to, this venture capital space and, and to get investors excited because we do have a big vision, and so it was just sort of like being able to define that a little better and open up, the idea of what that could be. But I remember like the couple months after we sort of shifted, we changed the deck, and I had to wrap my own head around it, and now I'm all for it. And I'm, so confident that we did the right thing. But yeah, you do have to be willing to pivot, as they say, the word of the decade, right? The pivot.
Okay. Yeah, so let's open up the Q&A. I see that there are more questions. Mike, do you want to talk more about your response to what do you look for in a startup, or as a startup, what I should have to join an accelerator?
All right, so I briefly answered a question somebody had about what do you look for, and you look for, one thing you look for is just, listening to Shira, right? It's that passion, right? Which we're listening to, because a lot of the best ideas are, let's say, startup founders are coming from a position of experience. They've experienced something in their life and they have a solution for it. So I think that's really key, instead of someone sitting around saying, we should come up with an idea. I mean, that can work, but generally speaking, they've experienced something. It might be a hobby that turns into a career, it turns into a startup. But in some cases, people have just experienced something where they can't get something they wanted, or they don't like what's out there already. And they decide, I'm going to try to do this myself. And all of a sudden it becomes a business. They say, wait a second, this needs to be done in a bigger way. More importantly, I really like this. I'm gonna start a business. So there's that passion, there's desire, there's a experience with it personally, there's a personal attachment there. And that is, and also we're looking at, so not just that background, but then, what is it that they're trying to solve? What is the problem? And then what's the solution to it, right? So we look for things that are market modern. So something that's not just repeating something that's already been done, but it's an updated version of something, right? It may be completely new, or just be a much better way. So it could be either way, something like that, but market modern, that's highly and quickly scalable. Highly and quickly scalable because we don't have the time to wait, let's say at an incubator pace. We like things to move at an accelerator pace, right? Which is why accelerators are such a great idea, right? Accelerators combine capital with mentoring. It's both. It used to be, decades ago, you just got to check. And then, the VC firm, depending on who it was, may stay involved, may not be, but try to give you some advice. But, they have a day job too, doing other things, talking to other companies, running a company, talking to portfolios, et cetera. But the accelerator is just dedicated to helping you get that launch, that product, and the solution, get it off the ground in a variety of different ways. So we're looking, what's your problem? What's your solution? Is it competitive? Does it have a moat around it? Or can somebody else just go out, you're making this new product and you think it's just going to it costs you, 69 cents to make, and you can sell it for $10. And that's great, for the first 6 months. And when it takes off, somebody in China just develops the same thing and starts selling, and they flood the market and you're out of business. So you got to say, what's competitive about it? And that's really important. What's the moat around it? Do you have an MVP? Have you already taken the time to develop something? That is to get it off the ground, or do you have just a PowerPoint? It's different. You have just a PowerPoint. If you got an MVP, it shows you've already started working on this. When I was writing code, I had to be dragged away from the machine. People were saying, Mike, your family didn't see you anymore. Nobody sees you. We don't see you. No one sees you. I didn't even know that was going on. Really? You don't see me? No, I forget. I didn't know. I got up in the morning, I was in front of the computer, at night in front of the computer, all times during the day, evening, just writing. So that's what happens, right? That's the kind of people we're looking for. The people that have no social life, right? They're just, there's somebody sliding pizza under the door to them, and they're working on their business, right? That's to us is exciting. Somebody that's that passionate about it. So the people, founders first is for us, the market modern solution that's highly and quickly scalable and sustainable, environmentally, socially, financially. So we're looking for that combination in startups. If you've got traction, that's great. We want to hear about it. Some startups don't yet, especially at the accelerator stage. They may not have revenue. They may not have a lot of customers. But then we want to say, okay, at the accelerator, you need to start applying the golden rule. What is the golden rule? The golden rule is compounding, okay? Growth, compounded growth. 10% weekly growth is the goal. That's what you want to get to, 10% weekly growth. So started with 100 customers, you end up with thousands at the end of the year. That's what growth is, compounded growth. Compounded growth in customers leads to compounded growth in revenue, right? So those are things we're looking for as well, is traction, especially in an accelerator and then coming out of an accelerator. So anyway, that's what we look for in startups.
Yeah, I'm going to let you guys work your way through the Q&A. I see that Michelle has answered a fair few. If you want to talk about them live on the air.
Oh yeah, sure, definitely.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
So shall I start with the first one? How do you evaluate startups? Yeah. So I basically have my kind of criteria in the chat box, but love to check more. So as I mentioned, like founders are most important criteria when we evaluate startups. That's the first steps. As Shira mentioned, she was in the industry field, and now she came out to do a music related startups. That makes sense. So that's the first steps. Founder, we expect them to have similar experience or work experience previously. So they know industry very well. So now they come up to do some startups in that industry. That makes sense. So that's called founder market fit. The second is about product market fit is like, a lot of time people come up with different ideas, so many different ideas. Whether that ideas can make sense and grow into a business, that really need to be a product market fit. So there has to be a needs, a much larger needs in the market that people willing to pay for the product. In that case, you can generate revenues and you can grow to a later stage. You can expand it to scale to different market or region internationally. So how to evaluate you have a product market fit? The most simple, easy way is like you launch a product to see if people are willing to pay for you, whether it's $10 per month or even less. As long as there are people willing to pay for it, definitely means, okay, there's a need there. Whether it's a big needs or small needs, that's the initial step about product market fit. The third one is like how big is the market? A lot of time, like people are solving problem, but the problem is relatively small in terms of like, you can tell the market is limited. So which means the revenue has a cap. I should put an example here. For example, some startup founders solve problems to a specific group of people, but that group of people, the needs is very limited, and the small amount of people are going to use that. So that means the market is not big enough. So most of the case, venture capitals wouldn't like to invest in that field just because they can estimate the market cap and the revenues coming along with investments. So you will also see a lot of times the VC will listen to the founders for their big visions. The pictures is so big enough. So they love that because they want to see there's a big market there for potential revenues. The last one, is it the business easy to scale and grow fast? Oh yeah, that's a lot of times someone come up with a business idea or they already have the product launch, they have revenue. So it's a fits for the 1, 2, even 3 criteria previously I mentioned about. And then it comes to, is it a business model or startups model? So that's the difference. Like startups, VC are really looking for very fast growth. At least I would say 2x or 100. Well, compared to last year, you want to see your revenue grow double for this year, and next year maybe like double, the same way, double or triple. So if you can grow the business fast enough, that could fit in the startup way. Otherwise, it's good to maintain a business, right? A lot of like profitable business, they are the founders or the business owners grow the business very well, but they don't extend to other regions. They don't go beyond the United States. They stay locally, but they are very profitable. So that's all. That's business. That's not startups. Yeah, I just shared these 4 points. Feel free to add more if Mike and Shira, you have some other ideas.
Good job.
I think that was great.
And then I see another one. Oh, look at that. Shira, how did you choose your team? Well, it is hard in the current market to find a good collaborator. Or let's say you're looking for an internship. What do you look for in an internship candidate?
Yeah, good question. And yeah, actually I threw my email in the chat if anyone is interested in internship opportunities. So I sort of lucked out because Gritty already had kind of this community of amazing women in the industry, that really stepped up and wanted to be involved. And as far as interns goes, one of my mentors, Kevin Lyman, the founder of Warp Tour, teaches at USC. So he first linked me with the USC internship program, which was great. And from there, we ended up expanding and doing posting on LinkedIn. But I look for some sort of relevant experience. Similar things like Mike was saying, passion, I always get on an interview. I looked at I always ask them, I tell them, walk me through your experience. Hopefully they've done at least something somewhat relevant, in the space? So do you feel like you don't have to kind of start from scratch, right? Like they know the space, they kind of have an idea. I love when candidates have taken initiative, started their own projects, right? Whether they have their own blog or whatever it is, their own TikTok accounts. It's like shows that, okay, you take initiative and have leadership qualities. And then I always ask, why do you want to intern at Gritty and Pink? And, you could tell if someone's done their research. Always look at the website, look at the social media, links. And I always ask that, what did you think of our Instagram? What did you think, what can we do better? So making sure the person has done their research and that they have sort of, a passionate reason on why they want to do it. Some people do just want the internship as something to put on their resume, right? Or to get college credit. And you could kind of see through that if someone's like, oh, I really just want an internship to get experience. Or if they're like, I love what you're doing, I'm all about your mission. I could just tell if they care and if they've done the research. So I think that's important. And then the final thing I'll say is follow-up is important. I think I'm really nice with it because I always ask for a follow-up email and I tell them exactly what I want in it. I say, oh, send me your writing examples, or, oh, you mentioned that you did that, that article, send that to me. Most people won't when they interview you. Most people won't ask for the follow-up. Like, that's kind of a test to see if you will do it. So within 24 hours, ideally 48 tops, you want to send them a nice thank you email, reiterating that you really want the job, that you want the role, that, after learning even more about it, you're even more excited. And here's examples of my work, anything that was discussed. So yeah, follow-up is very important. Sometimes people follow up, but they take a week, or sometimes they'll send the follow-up, but it's like 2 sentences. Like, take pride in, in your emails and actually put time into it, and put thought into it. And that really shows. So.
I want to ask something for all 3 of you. So something that we've heard from all of you over and over again is passion, as a way to survive in the entrepreneurial world, or just like passion through life. How can you tell when someone is really passionate about what they do versus like what Shira just said, they're just adding it to their resume and it doesn't actually matter?
I can start with this. It's pure, interesting, and simple way to see if that person has a passion. Like when they talk about what they're doing, if their eyes sparkling, right? If you can see that, that's just an indication so easily they have passion into what they're doing. That's also another VC told me about this. When they go out to talk with startup founders, they really look at their eyes to see if there are any emotion in their eyes to show that they're actually interested in it. Especially those founders, if they talk what they're doing, they don't show the excitements in their eyes. That's just like, okay, that VC show, I'm not going to talk further. So that's just a one simple way. Yeah, Mike and Shira, feel free as on.
I think that's a good point. Your eyes have to light up. Well, just to kind of build on that, it's like, the excitement. And I get that, maybe not everyone is like a performer like me or from New York and uses a lot of gestures, right? But yeah, it's energy, right? You want to be high energy. If you're not a normal high energy person, have some caffeine before the call, right? Like you want to come with a lot of energy, excitement. I know it's not everyone's personality, but you want to sort of figure out, right, how to communicate that energy. And someone said to me once, also a VC, I think it was, but like, the reason why passion is so important is because this journey is going to be hard, right? And so you have to know that the person has enough passion to keep going, right? And to plow through all the problems that they're going to have to solve to do the thing. So you want to, that kind of goes back to grit, right? And persistence. But yeah, just being able to show that you're all in, that you care a lot about what it is you're working on, that it's meaningful to you. Yeah, I'd say that's all important. Mike, what do you think?
I think if you're somebody who doesn't have that built-in energy, then you're going to have to be very compelling in other ways. That is, not just know your materials, but know exactly how you're going to market, that fit, how you're going to be successful. And this is absolutely going to be successful no matter what. So, and I've met some rather phlegmatic, let's say engineer types or scientists who aren't like, Shira or Michelle, they're not necessarily sparkling, but they've got some really compelling story to tell about what they're doing and why it's so amazing and why it's going to be so successful. Again, it's going to be a balance, and you're going to have to figure, you'll figure that out in your first few conversations. And certainly if you get into accelerator, they'll help you with this. They'll help you hone those skills. And by the way, if you don't have one of those bubbly, energetic personalities, and some people don't, maybe you've got a co-founder that does, and they should be the one out there talking about the solution. Remember, you can't be everything, right? Maybe you're a great engineer, but you're not a great marketer. That's okay, right? There's plenty of people that way, right? Steve Jobs was an absolutely awful engineer, but he was a great marketer, right? And so nobody thinks about it. Thinks of him today as an engineering, with any engineering skills. He was a good marketer, and that's what you have to figure out is where your strengths are, and make sure your founders or other people can complement that, and they've got other strengths.
Yes,
Good point.
and I'll agree. Well, yeah.
That is a perfect note to end the Q&A on. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to reach out to the panelists, drop your contact info in the chat box. And to close, just some general housekeeping. So I hope you enjoyed today's Sunstone University. You heard from Michelle, who leads one of the best accelerators in the world. You heard from Shira, who's obviously a trailblazing pioneer in her industry. And you also heard from the very much experienced CIO, Mike Stone. We want to encourage all of you to stay in touch with the Sunstone community. You can sign up for our newsletter, follow us on social media. We will keep you updated on events, jobs, internship opportunities, and much, much more. Our Sunstone Fellowship Program is also open, so you can go ahead and check out our website to see what positions are available. And finally, the next Sunstone University will be on November 10th. It will be virtual, and all the links will be dropped in the chat once more. And we appreciate any and all feedback about what you want to hear or who you want to hear from in our upcoming Sunstone Universities. Thank you so much. Once again, my name is Jennifer. Happy Halloween, and as always, be a Sunstone.
Thank you,
Got
Jen.
my Sunstone right here, by the way.
Great. See you, Shira.
Thank
See you,
you.
Michelle.
Bye.
Meeting you, Shina and Mike. Bye-bye.